Welcome, Bat fans. Today, we're diving into one of the most celebrated animated Batman movies of all time, Batman, Mask of the Phantasm. A film that seamlessly blends mystery, action, and emotional depth, leaving a lasting impact on the Batman legacy. Hey everyone, Diana here. Batman, Mask of the Phantasm isn't just an extension of the beloved animated series. It's a full-fledged cinematic experience that delves deep into Bruce Wayne's past and his relentless quest for justice. Let's unravel the mystery of the Phantasm and see why this film is a cornerstone of Batman lore. Following the success of Batman the Animated Series, Warner Bros. Decided to take The Dark Knight to the big screen. Released in 1993, Mask of the Phantasm was directed by Eric Radomski and Bruce Timm, with the voice talents of Kevin Conroy as Batman and Mark Hamill as the Joker. Despite being a box office disappointment at the time, due in part to limited marketing and a rushed release, Mask of the Phantasm has since been hailed as one of the greatest Batman films ever made. Let's explore why this animated feature stands the test of time. The story begins with a mysterious new vigilante, the Phantasm, targeting Gotham's crime bosses. Meanwhile, Batman is framed for these murders, leading to a tense cat-and-mouse game with the police. As Bruce investigates, he's forced to confront a painful part of his past, his former lover, Andrea Beaumont. Through flashbacks, we see Bruce's early days as a vigilante and his struggle with his vow to his parents versus his desire for a normal life with Andrea. Their tragic separation adds a layer of emotional depth to the story. The plot masterfully intertwines the present-day mystery with Bruce's backstory, culminating in a showdown that reveals the true identity of the Phantasm and exposes the corruption within Gotham's underworld. Kevin Conroy delivers a definitive performance as Batman, capturing the character's brooding intensity and inner conflict. Dana Delany voices Andrea Beaumont, bringing a perfect mix of strength and vulnerability to the role. And of course, Mark Hamill's Joker is as maniacal and unforgettable as ever. Each character is richly developed, with motivations that are both complex and relatable. The film's exploration of Bruce's psyche and the moral ambiguities of his crusade against crime set it apart from typical superhero fare. Mask of the Phantasm is visually stunning, with animation that captures the dark Art Deco aesthetic of Gotham City. The atmospheric lighting, fluid action sequences, and detailed character designs make it a visual treat for fans of the series and newcomers alike. The direction by Eric Radomski and Bruce Timm ensures that every frame serves the story, enhancing the mood and tension. Coupled with Shirley Walker's haunting score, the film's ambience is both captivating and memorable. Upon its release, Mask of the Phantasm received critical acclaim for its mature storytelling, voice performances, and animation quality. Over the years, it has gained a devoted following and is often cited as one of the best Batman films ever made. The film's legacy is undeniable. It not only elevated the standards for animated superhero movies but also deepened our understanding of Batman as a character. Its influence can be seen in subsequent Batman media, both animated and live action. Batman is wrongly implicated in a series of murders of mob bosses actually committed by a new vigilante assassin. Batman, the costumed crime fighter who prowls the night skies in Gotham City, soon finds there's another vigilante in town knocking off prominent mob figures. Despite the side-like blade for a hand, a mechanical voice, and the cloud of smoke that follows the figure wherever it goes, the police and outraged officials mistake the homicidal crusader for Batman himself, and demand that the city's longtime hero be brought to justice. Meanwhile, Andrea Beaumont returns to town. She is the lost love of Bruce Wayne, the billionaire playboy who is Batman's alter ego, and was an integral part of Wayne's decision 10 years earlier to don the cape and cowl. Now, she is back in his life and is no less a disruption than the return of his old archenemy, the Joker, who has a stake in seeing the annihilation of this new vigilante, whoever it proves to be. Batman is framed for the murder of Chucky Saul, setting off a chain reaction of events that forces Bruce Wayne to confront his past in ways that may put the Dark Knight's future in jeopardy forever. When Bruce's old love, Andrea Beaumont, returns to Gotham City, things start to unravel for the Batman, and soon he becomes Gotham Police's primary target. Convinced Batman's guilty of mysterious murders committed by a figure known only as the Phantasm. This is truly Batman's most desperate hour. Someone is killing off some of Gotham's mob leaders in an eerie costume, vanishing and reappearing like a ghost, and eyewitnesses insist that it is Batman. The Dark Knight is now in serious trouble with the police, accused of being dangerous and unpredictable. Hunted wherever he goes, Batman must solve the mystery of the Phantasm to stop the killing and regain his reputation. Meanwhile, old wounds are opened as Andrea Beaumont, whom Bruce Wayne had a serious love affair with in the past, returns to the city. Memories of the past are now preying on Bruce's mind, memories of a time before Batman, where Bruce was drawn between happiness and the promise he made to his parents. The mystery of the Phantasm is really putting Batman's skills to the test as the police slowly draw in with no mercy. The answer to it all lies somewhere in the past of both Bruce Wayne and another deadly foe, the Joker. A meeting between crime lord Chucky Saul Dick Miller and his cronies starts one night in Gotham City. Saul is instructing his men about the procedure for laundering some new counterfeit bills through their casino when the meeting is interrupted by the Batman. Batman takes out Saul's cronies, but Chucky manages to get to the parking garage. Saul is greeted by a mysterious figure who he first mistakes for Batman, stating the phrase, "Your angel of death awaits." This mysterious phantasm, voiced by Stacy Keach, is nearly run down by Saul's car, but tricks Saul into driving out a nearby window to his death. Batman arrives on the scene and observes Saul. The people below see Batman and assume he is responsible for what has happened. Next morning, Councilman Arthur Reeves Hart Bachner is giving a press conference about Batman's apparent actions. He wants to hunt down Batman and arrest the vigilante. Commissioner James Gordon Bob Hastings is against it, since he doesn't believe Batman would commit first-degree murder. Detective Harvey Bullock Robert Costanzo, on the other hand, is in favor of stopping Batman. Alfred Ephraim Zimbalist Jr.B. and Bruce Kevin Conroy are watching the presentation in the Batcave. Alfred dismisses Reeves' claims. Batman, in turn, is analyzing a chemical found on the glass from Chucky Saul's car. Councilman Reeves is in his office, talking to a woman, Dana Delaney, on the phone. She's flying into town after being gone for 10 years to settle some old finances. During a party at Wayne Manor, Bruce confronts Arthur about his Batman stance. Arthur counters with some remarks about Bruce's love life, and mentions the name of one woman from Bruce's past, Andrea Beaumont. Bruce confronts the portrait of his parents, flashing back to his memory of meeting Andrea in the graveyard while they both visited dead relatives, Andrea with her mother, Bruce with his parents. They both talk about how they miss their families. Bruce slyly mentions that he made a vow to his parents upon their death, and that so far he has kept it. The night after meeting Andrea, Bruce goes out crime fighting for the first time in his life. Decked out in a simple mask and street clothes, he confronts a group of thieves conducting a heist at a warehouse. Bruce is able to fend them off, but the thieves do not treat him as a serious threat. Next morning, after bandaging his wounds, Bruce exercises while talking to Alfred. Bruce thinks that he failed to keep control of the situation because the criminals weren't afraid of him. Andrea arrives to speak with Bruce, and before long the two have begun a romantic relationship. The flashback ends and Bruce goes back out to the party. Another Gotham crime lord, Buzz Bronski John P. Ryan visits the grave of Chucky Saul to pay his respects to the deceased mobster. He hears the mysterious voice repeating, "Your angel of death awaits." The Phantasm has come for Bronski. Bronski falls into a grave and the Phantasm kills Bronski by pushing a huge stone angel onto him. Buzz's bodyguards see a caped figure walking away from the scene and assume it is the Batman. Elderly crime boss Salvatore Valestra Abe Vigoda reads the obituary of Buzz Bronski. and the news story about Batman being thought responsible for the crimes. He is shocked at the news, resulting in a panic attack. Arthur is now more fanatical than ever in his crusade against Batman. Commissioner Gordon vehemently refuses to participate, so Bullock eagerly steps up. Later that night, Reeves and Bullock turn on the bat signal as a trap to arrest Batman. But the latter, however, does not show up, having listened to Reeves and Gordon's argument. This further convinces Reeves that Batman is guilty of the mobster killings. After Batman collects evidence at the scene of Buzz Bronski's murder, he takes a brief moment to reflect at the gravesite of his parents. Andrea Beaumont is also in the graveyard. She spots a figure at the Wayne graves and automatically assumes that it is Bruce. Andrea has dinner with Councilman Reeves, her mind distracted by what she saw that night. Batman observes her on stakeout. This triggers another flashback. Bruce takes Andrea to the Gotham World's Fair. Observing several prototype inventions including a distinctive-looking car, Andrea invites Bruce to come and meet her father, and he agrees. Bruce voices his discomfort to Alfred. His relationship with Andrea wasn't something he's planned on. Bruce and Andrea greet Carl Beaumont, who is just finishing business. With Arthur Reeves works for Beaumont's legal department at this time. The meeting is interrupted by Valestra, who wants to speak with Carl. Both Bruce and Andrea are suspicious of Valestra. Bruce spots a street merchant being robbed by a motorcycle gang. He goes after them, but his concern for Andrea distracts him and they get away. That night, Bruce tries to design a costume for himself but cannot continue. Bruce knows that he can't complete the vow he made to his parents with someone like Andrea in his life. Bruce goes to his parents' gravesite to try and justify his feelings. Andrea meets him and they go home together. When a police helicopter approaches the nearby roof, Batman is brought out of his memory trip and returns home. The next day, Councilman Reeves is approached by Valestra. Reeves confirms that Batman is apparently attacking their people. Valestra pleads with Reeves for protection, but the crooked councilman refuses to help. Using the Bat computer, Batman confirms that the two dead men, Saul and Bronski, were partners in phony dummy corporations set up at least 10 years ago. There was a third man involved, Sal Valestra. Batman goes off to confront Valestra. Alfred asks if Batman will see Andrea when he is done. Batman tells Alfred that he knows less about him than he thinks and drives off in the Batmobile. In Valestra's office, Batman finds a photo of Carl Beaumont with Valestra and the two dead men. This triggers yet another flashback. Bruce proposes to Andrea and she happily accepts. They are interrupted by a huge swarm of bats coming from a cave below the house. Andrea returns to her father's house to see that some people have arrived to speak with Carl. She goes inside to tell her father the good news. Bruce explores the cave and marvels at its huge size. When he returns, Alfred solemnly hands him a package. Andrea has returned Bruce's ring, stating only that she is leaving town and encouraging Bruce to forget her. Bruce, heartbroken, throws himself back into the plan. That very night, he dons the Batsuit for the first time. Alfred, seeing the transformation from Bruce to Batman, can only watch and remark, "My God." A now desperate Valestra goes to the now abandoned World's Fair, which is a hideout for the Joker Mark Hamill, who greets him like an old friend. Valestra tells him that he thinks Batman is killing off members of the old gang. Joker notes that this is uncharacteristic behavior for Batman and insists he is not a hired gun for the mob. Valestra reminds him that if the vigilante is specifically targeting his old associates, then it's only a matter of time before they go after the Joker. Valestra also reminds Joker that he is even more guilty than Valestra himself is. The Joker then assures Sal that he will not be harmed. Andrea ends her date with Arthur and finds Batman in her room. He asks about the men photographed with her father, but she tells him nothing. Denying any connection, Andrea states that Batman is the only one there who is still controlled by his parents. The Phantasm comes to Valestra's apartment, only to find that Sal has already been given a lethal dose of Joker toxin. Joker, watching from a hidden camera, is shocked to see that the killer isn't really Batman. The Phantasm narrowly escapes a bomb set by the Joker. Batman confronts the Phantasm on the rooftop. A police helicopter confronts Batman and Phantasm uses the chance to escape. Batman hides out in a construction site, but is soon able to trick the police into attacking a phony target, losing his cape and cowl in the process. Andrea drives up as Batman or Bruce is fleeing and offers him a getaway vehicle. They elude the police. Alfred bandages Bruce's wounds while he talks to Andrea. She tells Bruce about what happened the night he proposed. A flashback reveals that Carl Beaumont is begging for his life in front of Valestra's men. Andrea walks in, and her life is jeopardized too. Valestra gives Carl 24 hours to return the money that was embezzled or Carl will die. Andrea opposes her father's actions and does not wish to run, but Carl insists that there is no more hope for them in Gotham. They end up fleeing to Europe. In the present, Andrea tells Bruce that her father was eventually able to pay off his debt, but Valestra's men considered it too little, too late. Bruce thinks that the man in the Phantasm costume is Carl killing off the gangsters to finally be free of his debt, which still remains in effect during the present day. Bruce and Andrea are obviously still in love, but Bruce states that he still has to stop the Phantasm. Bruce looks at the photo he took from Valestra again. He recognizes the features on one man, and after an alteration with red ink, confirms that Valestra's former bodyguard is actually the Joker. Councilman Reeves is furious that Batman escaped. The Joker confronts Reeves and talks about what's been happening, mentioning that someone other than Batman is responsible for the killings. Reeves refuses to believe Batman's innocence, and the Joker suspects Reeves of trying to erase his ties to the Valestra mob, which he denies having. Andrea then calls Arthur, which confirms Joker's suspicions. Afterwards, Joker doses Reeves with his laughing toxin, and Arthur is hospitalized in a hysterical laughing fit. Batman confronts Reeves that night, confirming the details about Reeves' connection to the Beaumonts. Arthur kept in touch with Carl while he was abroad, helping to set up funds. But when Reeves asked Carl for help in financing an election, Carl refused. So, desperate for funds, Arthur sold Carl out to Valestra's mob. Batman leaves the hospital in disgust. Batman searches Andrea's apartment for more clues, finding a locket with a picture of Andrea and himself inside. The phone rings and Batman answers it. It's the Joker, sending another bomb into the apartment. Batman manages to escape and recognizes the design of the plane that flew in the bomb. He deduces that Joker is hiding out in the ruins of the Gotham World's Fair. In a final flashback, Andrea returns to her father's new home after some grocery shopping, only to find Valestra's bodyguard emerging. Fearing the worst, she drops the grocery bags and runs. As Andrea screams in horror, the future Joker grabs an apple out of the discarded grocery bags, then casually walks away. Phantasm confronts Joker, and Joker applauds the Phantasm scheme. Phantasm is revealed to be Andrea Beaumont, out for revenge against her father's murderers. Batman arrives and confronts Andrea, who states that vengeance is now all that she has left. Batman and Joker fight, eventually triggering a fire in the World's Fair props. Andrea grabs Joker, vowing that her crusade will end no matter what. She disappears in an explosion, but Batman manages to get away. However, there is no apparent trace of Andrea or the Joker. In the Batcave, Bruce regrets not being able to save Andrea. Alfred states that it is quite possible Andrea didn't want to be saved. A glimmer in the cave attracts Bruce's attention. He finds the same locket from Andrea's apartment. Out on a cruise, Andrea gazes out at the sea, truly alone in the world. Batman, cleared of the accusations against him and although still crestfallen from losing Andrea again, resumes crime fighting. So there you have it, Batman. Mask of the Phantasm, a true gem in the Batman franchise. Its blend of mystery, emotion, and action makes it a timeless classic. If you haven't seen it yet, do yourself a favor and watch it. You won't be disappointed. What are your thoughts on Mask of the Phantasm? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon for more deep dives into your favorite movies. Until next time, stay vigilant, Bat fans.